And as we look at the race for 270 electoral votes, that's what it takes to win. Throughout the night, we will be adding up as each state is called. Right now, you see 19 electoral votes for the former president, 3 for the vice president. And we are going to be following all of this throughout the night. And also on the bottom of the screen, you can see these races as we get the raw vote total in.
Yeah, that's going to start happening very soon. But let's turn to the Senate for a moment, because this is another big story. Control of the United States Senate. Democrats have almost no room for error. The Fox News decision desk can project that Indiana Republican Congressman Jim Banks will win his first Senate race.
In Virginia, it is too early to call the race between incumbent Democratic Senator Tim Kaine and his Republican challenger, Hung Cal. We're going to be looking into Virginia.
Longtime independent Senator Bernie Sanders will win a 4th term in the Senate in Vermont, and he caucuses, of course, with the Democrats.
As we look at the balance of power in the U.S. Senate, you can see we'll be ticking up. You need 51 for the majority. The Republicans need to pick up 2 to take the majority, and they're looking at states like West Virginia and Montana, but there could be others on this board. Right now, as you see, 39 Republicans to 29 Democrats.
A lot of toss-ups in that group as well. In the Senate races across the country, let's go to Bill Hemmer and get an update from the board.
Hey guys, we just seen a little of this vote come in from Florida, so why don't we go ahead and start there? And I'm just going to punch around and see a little bit of what we're getting here. We know the turnout was big. We know Republicans, based on some of the early voting and the voting today, was pretty decent here. But 8% of the statewide vote. This is Duval County, Jacksonville. I haven't seen this yet. Just go ahead and. So you got about 2/3 of the vote coming in Florida right now. Florida counts fast, by the way. I think early votes, they rack it up. And so right here in Duval County, you got Kamala Harris leading by a point. I tell you what we do. Why don't we do this? It's very interesting because for one of the first times in a long time, in anybody's memory, I guess going back to FDR, the late 1800s, we've got a candidate on the ballot where you can compare the number from 4 years ago and compare the number from 8 years ago. So we're going to do this a lot throughout the night. We'll get a measure about how Trump is performing versus Hillary Clinton and versus Joe Biden. So let's go back 8 years now. Just watch his number here with 2/3 of the vote reporting in Florida. This is one county in Jacksonville. So here we go. Trump is just shy of 50 against Hillary Clinton in that county. And then 4 years ago, he was a little less than that, about 2.5 shy of the midway mark and overall Duval. So he's doing right about the same number he did with Joe Biden 4 years ago. So let's look at Volusia County. Okay, you got a little more of the vote in here. Trump easily at nearly 60% of the vote. 77% reporting. Flagler, 86% reporting as well. So we expect him to do quite well in Florida. Let me move away from this because what I wanted to show you a moment here is we're just getting a flavor right now of perhaps what the suburban vote is doing for Trump versus Harris, and then what the rural vote's doing. And what I did was I want to pick out 2 places here because there's a county just north of Indianapolis. This is Hamilton County. Population about 350, 360,000. About 2/3 of the vote coming in right now. What I want to show you here is Trump's at 48.8 now. There's more vote out there. Indiana counts the mail-in ballots first. So let's do the same exercise, okay? This time, watch the slide come out here. And now it gives us a direct comparison for 8 years ago against Hillary Clinton. This is the weakness of the Trump campaign, right? 8 years ago, he was just shy of 57% in the same county. And then 4 years ago, got slightly weaker, okay? Down about 2 points. And then current day today, okay, so there's more vote out there. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, a little weaker there in that suburb just north of Indianapolis. Conversely, right, Trump's been working the rules, right? Well, this is Kentucky. You got a lot of the votes still out there, even though we called the race, okay? This is Taylor County. It is rural. It is small. There's about 10 to 12,000 raw votes there. Trump's percentage of the vote is big at 77%. So let's do the same exercise again. Go back to 2016. The percentage of the vote, okay, it was lower. 4 years ago in 2020, same county now, right around 75%. And as of tonight, okay, by the way, raw vote 93.76. Hold on to that number, okay? It's important because he's doing better on a percentage basis, but the raw vote doesn't help him a ton. That may suggest, as we pop around the map throughout the night, that the turnout for this vote could be lower than 2020. It's a COVID year, a pandemic year, a lot of people voting by mail, et cetera. We'll see whether or not we're able to top that number from 2020, but it's questionable and debatable at the moment. If I've got time, I'll just show you Florida. Just one more time here, 30% in. Miami is missing, you know, waiting for the Hispanic vote down there in Miami, the Cuban vote as well. Broward County, 70% in, heavily Democratic there, but about 60% of the vote right now going for Kamala Harris. The Trump team is saying that they're getting on the radio right now. They're cautiously optimistic. They're doing a radio in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, all the way at the top. That means the former president telling people there's still time and finish strong. That's the message from Mar-a-Lago right around down here in Palm Beach. Back to you, Brett and Martha.
You have time, Bill. We're going to have a lot of time.
Roger that.
Okay, yeah.
We have a lot of waiting to do. So
Georgia is really crucial as we look at this raw vote total, and they're also getting a lot that we expect to come in very fast. Madison Allworth is actually in Norcross, Georgia, with the view from the ground. Hey, Madison.
Hey, Brett. Hey, Martha. So yeah, polls have closed at a majority of locations here in Georgia, including the location that I'm at. I can actually see from my vantage point that at least one person has tried to come in past 7 p.m. and they are turning them away because this poll location, like most, closed at 7. But there are a few because of issues that will be open past 7 p.m. So 5 locations in Fulton County, 1 here in Gwinnett County. Those 6 had issues with unsubstantiated threats. So they were closed for a certain amount of time during the day. They've been allowed to be open for that amount of time past 7. We also have 7 precincts in DeKalb. That's another area in the Atlanta metro area that have bomb threats. We're still waiting to see if those locations are going to be allowed to be extended past that 7 p.m. window. So majority results have coming in. We've talked to the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, a number of times. He has reiterated he's really confident that majority results will be reported by 8 p.m. And now when it comes to how close it is here, recounts are not necessary. But if it's within 0.5%, a candidate can request it. We're going to start to get those results really any minute now. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Madison, thank you.
all right, let's go to Sam Smith, who is looking at these Fox News voter analysis surveys and picking up some information about different voter groups out there. What are you learning, Sandra?
Which could be telling a big story right now. This is the first time you'll see this, and the first time since the polls have now closed, begun to close there, that we can break this down by candidate. Okay, first up, timing of your vote. We know so many went out for early voting. Let's see how those votes breaking down in Georgia. Those who cast their vote early, look at this. They did not prefer a candidate if they early voted. It is split 49 for Harris, 49 for Trump. All right, let's look at some of these other key data points. We know the race was huge. The black vote was huge for Biden when he won by just a bit in Georgia there in 2020. So let's look at how they are turning out in this election. All right, this is the first time we can break this down among black voters and their support for Kamala Harris. While strong, she is below where Biden was in 2020, 4 years ago. This number for Biden was more like 91. So she's running about 8 points behind where Biden was with the black vote in Georgia in 2020. All right, I have another data point where I'm going to combine this with gender, okay? So now you look at the black male voter in Georgia. We know both candidates have spent a lot of time courting them there. Democrats have been trying to convince them that they could be better for the economy. Trump has been trying to woo those voters. Remember, inflation is more than 20% in that state. With black men, Harris is at 73%, Trump at 25%. Let me give you perspective and context on that. Joe Biden in 2020 had this number at about 87%, okay? So right now, she's running about 13 points with black men behind where Joe Biden was in 2020. All right, another data point there, Brett, because I know you asked. Black women as well in Georgia, we have been watching this. Here it is, strong showing, 89%. Let me give you the perspective on that. Joe Biden with black women in Georgia 4 years ago was at 95% of their support. She is also running behind with them by about 6 points. I'll leave you off with one other data point here. Again, this is the first time we are able to show you this. Education and race. Whites with no college degree in Georgia. Donald Trump, a strong showing there. He's at 77, getting 77% of their support. So We have a lot more data coming in, and we will continue to bring that to you. Brett, Martha?
Those are really interesting
Thank you.
numbers. They tell
Absolutely.
a story. They start to.
Yeah, so let's bring in our panel and see what they think about these numbers. Britt Hume, Dana Perillo, Harold Ford Jr., Carl Rove, Laura Ingram, and Robert Wolf. Laura, welcome. Great to have you here. She's underperforming, but is the headline there?
Yeah, it looks like right now, Harris isn't getting enough from women, at least in Georgia, that she would need to overcome what Trump is getting from men, both increase in support from black men and men overall. This is going to be the question throughout the night, because the Trump people and all their surrogate groups have tried to really mobilize men. We talked about this afternoon, Martha. I mean, from Joe Rogan to Elon Musk and all the other people down the line, they are trying to turn out that male vote. I would keep an eye on Virginia, and Carl knows this better than everyone else, but in 2020, in Virginia, Trump lost by 9.2, and in 2016, he lost by 4.9. Watch what happens in Virginia. Youngkin has been phenomenal on the ground for Trump, and even if that lead is cut by half, let's say it's 4 points, that could be a bellwether of something to come. Also in New Hampshire, where I spent 4 long winters.
Yes.
See what happens in New Hampshire. It was very tight in 2016.
Robert, welcome to you as well. In the state of Georgia, Biden flipped Georgia for the first time since 1992, largely because of the black electorate. Looking at those numbers right now, it doesn't seem like she's delivering that same kind of power.
Yeah, those numbers seem soft, although I would tell you I was predicting North Carolina over Georgia for the vice president, because I think Stein will be like plus 15 versus Robinson, and the governors, and I think that may help the vice president. But these are soft numbers, and I thought Warnock and Ossoff, 2 senators that are popular, we would have maybe seen, a better turnout. So I'm hoping this is just the early voting.
Yeah, not all the data obviously is in yet. Carl, what's your read on it?
Well, first of all, we're looking at half of the problem. The problem that we're looking at is what's the division of black vote by men and women, Trump versus Harris. The other thing we need to look at is turnout. A 1% decline in black turnout in Georgia over the last election would wipe out the 10,000 vote margin that Joe Biden had. So we're seeing part of the picture. Let's see if it's compensated or offset by how much the black turnout is. Is it bigger than last time or smaller than last time? I'd make one other point. The other part of the Georgia equation that we're going to have to watch, we have a little bit of evidence from, and I mean a little bit of evidence from Indiana we ought to be worried about, if the Trump campaign ought to be worried about, and that is the suburban support. Hampton County went Republican 4 years ago. Trump won up 52 to 45. Tonight, with about 2/3 of the vote, and he's losing it to Kamala Harris, 50 to 44, actually 50 to 48. So he's running behind the performance. If that happens in Georgia, with these suburban counties like Forsyth and Cherokee, Gwinnett, which was won by Biden, but it has a huge number, the biggest number of Republican voters in the state of Gwinnett. If you remember, Hamilton County, 34% of the Republican primary voters in May voted for Nikki Haley when she had no chance of winning. We're seeing that effect tonight with the county being released at this point.
Harold, it's just worth pointing out that the Fox News voter analysis is this rolling poll over several days, 120,000 voters asked a series of questions. When we look at that data that Sandra talked about, with the raw vote total coming in, we have a sense of how accurate or not accurate it is. So far, it's lining up. Your thoughts where you are?
So I think Carl's point is right. I think one of the things I would love to see in Georgia is not just racial breakdown, but just breakdown of women versus men. Because if indeed he's underperforming the suburban areas in Indiana, you could extrapolate perhaps that happens in Georgia. But I would agree, if these numbers hold up, if he's polling, he being President Trump, 25% amongst black men, that's a challenge. If you see that in the other big cities in the blue states, Detroit and Philadelphia, that could be an issue as you think about the tightness of this race. But this campaign, the Harris campaign, has always said that it's women. They're going to be the key here. I agree with Robert. I think the North Carolina piece, the Stein-Robinson race, that Guppo race will have an advantage for Harris. But this is early. She's still ahead in Georgia. And I think once we get some more of these numbers in, once you get to 10, 15, 20%, I think we'll have a little bit better sense of whether or not this 25% African American male thing is as serious as it seems.
And when we have on the screen, you have the numbers, and then you look at the percent of precincts in. Right now it's at 3%. So as you look at the screen, that's what you'll be seeing throughout now.
I mean, one of the things that the Harris campaign, which Harold just touched on, Dana, is that they're hoping that they're going to make it up with some moderate GOP voters that will be persuaded over to the Harris camp. What's the feel for that at the stage of the game?
I would be skeptical. There is a lot of that kind of vote out there. So Governor Kemp had some problems with President Trump for a while, but they patched those things up. And I believe that as Youngkin has been very good for President Trump in Virginia, that Kemp has an amazing operation there in Georgia, and he was tireless out there for him. And I also think that we should thank Georgia for doing what it needed to do in order to help get us these results in as quickly as possible, to have integrity in the vote, for people to have confidence that the system worked for them, that they could get those lines quickly, and that the rules are the rules. And that, I think, will help people feel confident about the results.
Britt, economy is the #1 issue in Georgia, by far.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but pretty much leads the way. In our Fox voter analysis, they break Trump's way significantly on the issue of the economy.
Right, that's important. The other thing we have to keep an eye on throughout the night, it seems to me, are what, to use a piece of really minute jargon we have, is just the low propensity voter.
You hate that word.
I think it's awful jargon, but I can't think of a quickly better way to say it.
People who don't vote very often.
Really set a great deal of store by the fact that they believe that they have reached these people and will turn them out in significant numbers.
But explain who they are. There are people who didn't vote in 2020, or maybe didn't vote in 2016 and 2020.
And they're the kind of people they think are largely for Trump, if you ask them, right? And that if they can turn them out, they think they could be the decisive factor in this election. We don't know enough now, I don't think, to assess how that's going, but that's something to keep an eye on.
We might have an indication of it if you look at some of these Georgia rural counties. I've been watching Bill work on his wall. If you take a look at some of these rural counties, small counties, there are 150 or 180, 159 counties in Georgia, you'll see that Trump is getting a bigger number of votes in these smaller counties and a bigger percentage. This is, again, goes back to the episodic or low propensity voter.
All right, we're going to dig into these numbers, and we'll head back to Bill momentarily. Election night just getting started.
Some of the first polls are about to close in hotly contested state of North Carolina, so we're going to have some data there to show you coming up right after this break as our special coverage continues.
Starting at 5 a.m., Lawrence, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian bring us all the latest after Election Day on a special Fox and Friends tomorrow.
The votes are in. The next president of the United States is...
$400 million in ad spending in this Senate race, and a few people still coming in here to just minutes before the polls close at 7:30, and voter turnout has been strong. More than 2.5 million Ohioans voted early. This morning at 5 a.m. there was a line stretching around this entire building with people ready to vote, and it really reflects what's at stake. 17 electoral votes. Former President Donald Trump is expected to carry the state for a third time, but as you mentioned, the race that everybody is watching is between the incumbent Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown and GOP challenger Bernie Moreno. Now, Senator Brown has campaigned seeking the fourth term, trying to make this about reproductive rights, which are enshrined in Ohio's Constitution. And for that reason, Moreno told us last night it should be a non-issue in this race. He says that Senator Brown is turning abortion into a political weapon.
There is no ability federally to be able to handle abortion at the federal level, one way or the other. So what I'm going to focus on as a United States Senator is to bring people together on this issue.
And we will see the impact that former President Donald Trump has down the ballot. Keep in mind, no Democratic senator has won an election in a state that Trump carried while Trump was on the ballot. We'll see if that changes tonight. We'll send it back to you.
Nate Ford with the golf voice inside the poll area. That was nice.
He said there weren't that many people left. He felt like he had to be quiet.
Yeah, I think so. Battleground North Carolina also among the next batch of poll closings. A tight presidential race in a state Trump won twice. Many voters there still recovering, obviously, from Hurricane Helene. Senior correspondent Jonathan Sarah is live in Raleigh. Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah, good evening, Brett and Martha. Most of the polls throughout the state are going to close just minutes from now, with the exception of two precincts that had technical problems that delayed voting this morning. The issue in Wilson County involved a printer cable, and in Burke County, it was a laptop that wouldn't boot up. In both instances, it involved equipment used for checking in voters, not the actual voting machines. Other than that, elections officials say things have been moving pretty smoothly, including in the western part of the state, which was heavily damaged in Hurricane Helene. 7 tents with electric generators and voting machines are in place to accommodate election day voting in areas where normal voting sites were destroyed or inaccessible. Election officials say the state's voter turnout, which already broke early voting records, is on track to meet or exceed the record set in 2020 for total ballots cast. Back to you guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
So let's take it around our panel. We just heard a little bit about the abortion issue, Laura. And it's interesting just looking at our Fox News voter analysis, because we saw in 2022 in the midterms, this was obviously it was more of an impact than people thought it was going to have going in. But in this situation, it appears that only a quarter of the voters who are Democrats say that it is the single most important factor in their decision. So that's going to be a big question tonight. Does abortion turn out to be as big an issue as perhaps Democrats would like it to be?
I thought the Fox voter analysis on gas prices and food prices was staggering. It was 85%, 91%, very concerned about both. But certain voter analysis in some of the other networks, Edison, Reuters, has abortion at 14, democracy at 35, the economy at 31, immigration down at 11. I'm not sure I buy that, but look, it's a stark choice presented to America tonight. Do you want the status quo, which is pretty much high prices, high cost of living, fairly liberal to open border situation, or do you want a change? We know what that change was like in 2019. I don't think we've had as stark a choice perhaps since 1980 as we do tonight for the country. But they've done a brilliant job of making this not about her old record, not about Biden, who has a 38% approval rating tonight, but about abortion and young women and Donald Trump, fascist, Nazi. That's their clothes. So if it's abortion, fascism, Hitler, that's your clothes. I think that's a pretty dark view of the country. I think the economy is still the #1 issue nationwide. I'm not buying some of these exit polls.
Herald of economic issues. This election overall, every race, it's estimated to have $15.9 billion with a B dollars spent on this election, almost $16 billion. That surpasses the record of $15.1 billion in 2020. If you were to take a checkbook and write a check to every American, everywhere, it's almost $50 a person, and we're tied tonight in the presidential race.
I gather some Americans would love the $50 check as opposed to having gone through what we've gone through here over the last.
But the vice president's campaign has spent more than former President Trump. And do you think, right now, looking at the numbers, that they're getting the money?
It's early. Well, for now, one of the reasons we spend so much in campaigns today is that the campaign process is business. They start 4 years out. They begin raising money and hiring pollsters and all those kinds of things. Hopefully, we get some reform to that going forward. But I have to tell you, just looking at the early numbers, you got to be a little concerned, Democrats, on this. The numbers, it's way early, so we're going to get a lot more things here. But to see those numbers that Bill put up in Florida and Miami-Dade, with the breakdown between the two candidates, that's a little concerning. The concern that you raised, Carl, about suburban voters in Indiana, Democrats have to be a little concerned about this as we head in here. I'm curious to know also about that Florida abortion thing that was on the ballot there in Florida and how that's faring and if that's had really any impact. The Kemp relationship with Trump, it seems like it might have been repaired a bit as you look at some of these numbers early on. We'll have to see what suburban voters. I called with someone who said a little bit about the black voters in Georgia. It was not necessarily black voters in Georgia. It was suburban and rural voters in Georgia that put Biden over, and it even gave the seats to the Democratic senators there. So as we get more and more numbers here on the next few minutes, it'll be very telling because if Georgia and North Carolina stay with Trump, Trump needs that in his math. He can't do it without the states in reality. Kamala Harris was hoping for a flip there. You get a surprise there, and then the night takes on a little bit of a different pace and a different tone. So those are the numbers I'm looking most closely at right here in the next few minutes.
We've got about 30 seconds before we start our tick-tock to the next call. Dan, what do you think?
I think that Florida is so interesting because Governor Ron DeSantis is such an effective governor and a great campaigner. And I think also that there are changes in Latino voters and generational changes. But I would also say this. When 75% of the country says you're on the wrong direction, you're going in the wrong direction, and their number one issue is the economy, you should listen to them. Because that's what it is.
Well, Miami-Dade was flipped by DeSantis. He lost it in his first governor's race, and then he won Miami-Dade in the second. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of that play out in Miami-Dade right now. We'll see.
Brent, do you want to do the TikTok sound for us? We're coming up on the next poll closing, and it's a big one because North Carolina, we should start getting raw vote totals right away. North Carolina is one of the fastest states, even despite Hurricane Helene. They're doing a really great job. Secretary of State's office there as we wait for the poll closing right now. It is now 7:30 on the East Coast. Polls have just closed in 3 more states. North Carolina is the next state to watch, just like Georgia. It came down to the wire in the last presidential election. It has 16 electoral college votes, and it will be a decisive one, potentially. The Fox News decision desk says it's too early to poll.
Also too early to call Ohio, but former President Trump has a lead in our Fox News voter analysis. As we mentioned, we're also watching the Senate race there. Bernie Moreno is the GOP candidate running against Sherrod Brown. We can say that Fox News does project that Trump will win West Virginia. Not a very big surprise there. Obviously, the former governor, or current governor, is running for the Senate as well.
We expect that to be a quick call as well. If you look at the race for 270, the Electoral College, what's needed to win the presidency, now ticking up with that last call from the president at 23, and Vice President Harris at 3 throughout the night. Seat away from an outright majority in the U.S. Senate, assuming they don't lose any seats along the way that they already hold.
Yes, exactly. So the Fox News decision desk says that it is too early to call another Republican target. Ohio, where the incumbent Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, as I mentioned, fighting for his 4th term against Republican businessman Bernie Moreno, and we're watching that one very closely as well. That could potentially be another flip. It's a toss-up race at the moment. The balance of power looks like this in terms of what we have fed in so far into the data at this point. You've got 40 Republicans, one seat flipped. That's the West Virginia seat. Jim Justice will be the new senator. He was the former governor from the state of West Virginia, and Democrats have 29 right now. You can see a lot of spaces still to be filled in over on the Senate side.
We're following a number of gubernatorial races around the country. Turning to those races, Fox News can project that North Carolina's Democratic Attorney General Josh Stein will defeat Republican Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A lot of controversy in that race. It's not close now. We're making that call.
And in West Virginia, Republican Attorney General Patrick Morrisey will succeed Jim Justice as the state's 37th governor. He has wanted that spot for a long time. He's run before, and now Patrick Morrisey will be the governor in West Virginia. Let's go over to Bill Hammer and get a sense of how all of this stacks up.
That Florida story is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Why don't we start there this time? And good evening again. Just past 7:30 here on the East Coast. I was looking at Miami right now. Miami-Dade, the last time as a county they voted for a Republican president was 1988. George Bush, 41. Right now, you got 71% of the statewide voting, but you got 80% of the county voting here. And Trump's got easy 10-point advantage right now over Kamala Harris. So we'll see how that holds up here. Another thing we're going to look at right now is Georgia. And, Georgia's one of these states that's gone through a bit of a realignment, kind of like North Carolina, kind of like Arizona, and some others that we've looked at, in the blue wall a little bit right now. Trump did the trick 8 years ago. We'll see whether or not he can do it again this time. But I just want to take a glance at this because you got a lot of vote out there, guys. Now, we expect a lot of matches to come in quickly here in Georgia because they say they're going to count quickly. Right now, 8% of the statewide vote. One thing we're talking about the rules, this down here is Brantley County. Now, this was Trump's best performing rural county in 2020, and he's doing a number right now again. I'll just go back to 2020, 4 years ago, and watch this. The percentage there was up, so he's doing a tick better. Raw vote here, 6,200 4 years ago. Raw vote now in the same county, 4,900. So maybe that comes back to that conversation about turnout, things like that throughout the rest of the country. But when you look at Georgia, let's look at the vote difference for Georgia. We can show you a little of the realignment that we're talking about here. And if you look at this, right, all this over here, this is a dominant state for the Republican Party and had been for a long time. You think about George Bush's second term, right? He won that state by 16.5 points. It wasn't even on the map in terms of consideration. Slowly, Georgia changed. And a lot of it changed for the metro area, the 26 counties that make up Atlanta. Here was Trump in 2016. I give it to him, right? 5 points 8 years ago. But things did change in 2020 and changed in a significant way when Joe Biden went in there and took the state by 0.2 percentage points. Raw vote of 11,000.
Where does it end up? This one's more interesting. Macomb County, but again,
you'd have to go to the precincts, where the rest of the remaining vote comes from, and maybe we'd take a look at that in a moment here. But that would be, you're one of 159 in terms of population. So maybe what you're saying, Brett, about the African-American male vote there is true in places like Fulton County, Georgia. Just want to caution you, there's still a lot of vote out there, but we're going to keep a very close eye on Fulton County starting right now into the night here in Georgia.
And Bill, do you have any indication that turnout is a bit lower than 2020? Because that would affect some of what you're doing in these comparisons as well.
I can tell you this, Martha. Before Election Day, Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, set up an awesome website. And just county by county with the early vote. I was on there every hour of every day just trying to analyze it. One thing that was evident from the early vote, don't know about today just yet, but based on the early vote, the African-American population in Georgia is about 33% statewide. What the political analysts will argue is that you need, in order to win statewide as a Democrat, you need 30% of that vote. And the early vote indicated that Kamala Harris was just a tick above 26%. So it's another indicator, maybe another data point that we need to keep an eye on throughout the night as to what Brett was talking about.
Brett, what are you looking at?
Well, I've been keeping an eye on this issue that we're was raised in a voter analysis that said that fully half of all voters say the future of democracy is the most important factor. But it's a big number. That's a lot of people worried about that number. Now, Trump gets some of those voters, but 60% of them won't go for Harris. I think that issue of democracy is about one thing, about Trump and fear of Trump. But it's the same factor we keep coming back to time and again. You know, the Trump factor was raised is, was he able to overcome the resistance to him, which has been so dominant through previous cycles? None of that was.
Because if you were just running on the issues that include the most important, economy, immigration,
right,
you wouldn't see
that. But you got half the people thinking it's important. That's a Trump. That's a Trump.
A huge issue for 2020, and it also resurfaced a bit with candidate selection in 2022 that he got blamed for. So the question is, are we going to see the increase in his approval numbers translate into something positive?
And if you work your way back to what that's about January 6th.
Can I clarify?
The price he paid politically for January 6th is still being paid.
And it also was hammered over and over again by current President Biden, the former candidate. You know, the threat to democracy was really on his lips pretty much every minute.
.9% vote. Donald Trump has a more than 138,000 vote lead over Kamala Harris, with an estimated 87% of the vote in. In battleground Michigan, Kamala Harris is in the lead, 50.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has 48% of the vote. Harris has a more than 40,000 vote lead over Donald Trump, with 33% of the vote in there. John King.
So, Jake, just going through some of these counties in Pennsylvania again, Joe Biden won the state. Let's go back and show you it. 81,000 votes, right? His birth state. He's from Delaware now, but he was born in Pennsylvania. That was one of the things that helped him, was because he was, as he liked to call himself, the scrappy kid from Brandon. So where are we now in 2024? I was just looking at here. This is Lackawanna County. This is where Joe Biden was born. Scranton, Pennsylvania. You say, well, the vice president's winning it with 51%. Donald Trump's at 48, right? So again, in a close battleground state, margins within some of these counties can matter. She's at 51. Joe Biden, 4 years ago, was at 54. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You look at the margin there, you say, oh, that's only 9,000 votes, right? You know, if you're trying now, you're trying to make up this lead, right? That's 3,000 votes, a little less than that, a little more than that, maybe 3,000 votes. The reason it matters is you're trying to make up 173,000 votes, right? So when you're losing ground in each of these counties, it hurts. And so let's just come over here. This is Luzerne County. This is Trump country, Pennsylvania. Harris getting 42%, 43 if you want to round that up. Trump at 57, and 43 for the vice president, 42. So there she's competing, not so bad. There. So you're just looking for the pieces as you come through. Carbon County, 65 for Trump. In 4 years ago, 72% for Trump. Now, that's white workers, blue-collar workers, high school educated workers. We want to check back in here. Lehigh County, vice president, 52%. It's a little bit out here. Again, you're looking for population centers now. This is the 10th largest of the 67 counties. If you're the Harris campaign, you're looking at population centers trying to say what's left in the places where there are a lot of people. Modest amount of people in Lehigh Valley, but you see it right there, 52. Just want to come back. Joe Biden's at 53. You see the pattern that continues, right? You know, I was saying to Trump has to improve his standing a point or two in the suburbs. She has to match Joe Biden.
They don't know I ain't in this ring alone. I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer.
Pretty darn good candidates that gave them a shot in states where Republicans often face an uphill battle. And the fact that, it looks like it won't be just a squeaker, there might be a little margin there for Republicans in the Senate is testament to that.
Let's see where Wisconsin is, guys. Can we put up Havdi in Wisconsin?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and the Trump family, accompanied by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, along with friends and campaign staff.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. An American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that Our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And to every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family. my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, there's Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp, and you know the enemy camp is certain networks, and a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay, which one, CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks fine. He's still like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
Wow. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now, we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Come here, Chris. Come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background. Come here, Susie.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate, and he's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at her, she's shy. I've never seen her be shy before. Susie. They're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket. I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And, but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And because, especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash. And then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and it put it straight. And it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it. And just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated. The water, this was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer. He's slightly longer than me. It's a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me, do you mind if I use your, nobody wanted to give him a ring because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit, and I went, and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it. And it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana, please.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserved this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelt boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, busting with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. No, he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like really, probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hard-working people, these are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight, when you think. I mean, I was looking at it. I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American. Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally, we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years, we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, you will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great, great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term when we became more and more successful. People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Young man,
deserve.